Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to the videos that are the paid requests. This time for Joseph. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And Joseph wanted me to do a video on the top 10 worst directors of all time. It's a bit tougher than I thought because do I view a director that only made one film, it's a really, really bad film, but they've only had one film, and you just say, well, there's some people, they don't always do the best first film, and hey, maybe they'll get better. So I was like, that's a really, really bad directing job, but he only got one crack at it. Maybe that's a good thing. But then there's other people that have had constant chances, and they haven't improved. So in essence, that would make them a worse director because they've had a second and third and fourth chance, and they still haven't improved. So it's like, which is it? I decided the best way to do it was just to do a bit of both. A bit of both. Again, it's a tough list to make, because there's a lot of things to look into. Like, okay, the guy Andrew Jordan who did that film Things from 1989. Or like the guy who did Newty. Those are some of the worst films I've ever seen. So in that sense you could say the worst directors, but I think they might have only done one film, but if that's the case, then it's like, well, what I said before. So it was very tough to do it that way, but I made as best of a list as I could. Number 10, I'm going to say it's a tie between John Moore and Olivia Megaton. The reason I put those on the list is because they remind me similarities. One remind me of the other and vice versa, where they did a lot of action films, but a lot of times they would use very bad shaky cam. Or, well, Olivia Megaton was much more really bad shaky cam, and John Moore, well, there's some of that in Die Hard 5 and others. Really, it was because they took what could have been fun action films, made them really lame, and screwed up IPs or screwed up franchises consistently. Olivia Megaton really liked Transporter 1 and 2, but then he killed it with Transporter 3. I know they did a reboot, but that's the thing. It's so bad that they had to do a reboot. But yeah, Transporter 3 was really bad compared with the first two. Just piss poorly directed, shaky cam, not as well choreographed as the other two. And then repeated that in Taken 2 and Taken 3. I love the first Taken. I think that would probably be one of my top 10 favorite action films of the 2000s. Or I should say the past 20 years, it'd be my top 10. At least. And you screw it up so badly with Taken 2 and 3 because you get Olivia Megaton, the Megatron of spite, the Megaton of shit, to do these sequels with piss poor, schizophrenic, shaky cam. So many times you can't understand what is going on. So it's also, there's such a multitude of edits and cuts where if Liam Neeson does one takedown, it's like like cut. There's a point where he's running, and I think it was Taken 3, he's just jumping over a fence, and it's like cut here, cut there, cut there, and cut there. I'm like, why are there like 4, 5, 7 cuts of just him going over a fence? And even when he's trying to do his own film, like Columbiana, he did a bad job with it. Now they're not well-written movies. I can't remember, he might have had a hand on the scripts, which makes it even worse. But even if not, I don't think Taken 2 and 3, I think forget who wrote it. Forgot his name. Just the way the filmmaking is in terms of the shaky cam and the way how heavily edited they are with the cuts made them at times incomprehensible. Definitely made them a lot more annoying to watch and not much fun to view. John Moore, the fact that you do a crappy Max Payne, the fact that I wanted to like Die Hard 5 to the point I tripped myself into liking it, but I still enjoy the first four. The fifth one I could not enjoy anymore. Because I saw in the theater, I'm like, oh yeah, I get to see a Die Hard film in the theater, cool. Bruce Willis on the big screen, cool. And I bought the Blu-ray and I'm like, this film isn't that good. This film's really lame. Like, wait, that line is they literally stole the dialogue, the reading of the line from Die Hard 4. And wait, what's this bit here and what's this bit there and why is John McClane acting this way and the villain isn't that great. It's just a lot of issues, and John Moore didn't help matters. And not only that, you do like the Omen remake, which is one of the most pointless remakes. Other than Behind Enemy Lines, which I guess was a fluke, because I like that film with Owen Wilson, the rest of it has been garbage. And just John Moore and Olivia Megaton, thankfully doesn't seem like they do a whole lot nowadays in terms of mainstream filmmaking, thank God. Because if I hear those names, I'm like, I want to avoid it like the plague. Number 9, I picked David DeCatto. You're wondering, who the hell is that? This guy has done an extensive amount of movies, and they're all... The fact that he's done so many movies, and it's like he's learned nothing. Even though I think he did Puppet Master 3, which was okay, but even then, it's like he went on to do Bigfoot vs. D.B. Cooper, one of the worst movies out there. Trying to be more of a softcore porn than anything, and failing. A Talking Cat, god-awful family film. He did a lot of these like 1313 movies, which was like softcore, gay, porn but not porn. And to be fair, I haven't seen them. I just looked at the covers of these movies, and I looked on YouTube on the trailers doing this, and I went, doing this list, I'm sitting there going, yeah, you can tell by the trailers what kind of movies, directing-wise, these are. And then like these Lifetime Channel films. Well, I think he did like 10. I think that was him who did like 10 movies with VJ Fox. And it's like the Bad Doctor? God, I forget what it was called. Apparently VJ Fox has done like 10, 12 Lifetime Channel movies that almost have the same title. I wish I could remember what the hell the titles were now. The Ron. That was the Ron something. The Ron Doctor. The Ron Babysitter. The Ron blah blah blah. And I guess she's like a, I don't know, a cop or a psychologist. Like, the Ron this. The Ron wife. I'm saying it's going to be like the Ron waiter. The Ron bedmaker. The Ron sex fiend. The Ron director. I mean, what the hell is this guy? Why does he get to make so many movies? Number 8, I put Jim Wynorski. Even though I like films of his like Chopping Mall and Demolition High with Corey Haim, I had to put it on there because you do a film like Chopping Mall so early in your career, a fun film. So if you do make a very fun film like that, I do expect a bit more out of you. And then I see your progress, it's downhill to films like Ghoulies 4, Agent Red with Dolph Lundgren, Raptor, that film with Eric Roberts where they just stole all the footage from Carnosaur. Just how lazy. Like, you actually did something with Choppy Mall. And to just see how lazy the guy got. I'm trying to remember if he's the one that did all those Bear Winch softcore movies. It was him or Fred Olen Ray. I think it was Jim Wynorski. And I'm like, I get it. It's a paycheck, man. But God, you got really lazy. And you just did not care anymore. And that's even more disappointing with... If you could pull more films out like Choppy Mall. Or even Demolition High, the first one. But instead you get this stuff. Number 7, the same thing, Fred Olen Ray. The only film of his I liked was Deep Space. And that was because it's Charles Napier from Rambo First Blood Part 2, Murdoch. Cutting an alien's head off with a chainsaw. An alien that looks like a xenomorph. I'm like, okay, that's a fun ending. I like Charles Napier, and there's some quirky character moments with him, and some fun B-level practical effects. But then, like, the Alien Dead, Evil Tunes, Mach 2, one of the worst Brian Bosworth movies. Films like Critical Mass and stuff with Treat Williams, where it's I think he did the Dean Cain one, Militia, where it's like, let's steal a bunch of footage from Last Action... Did he do that one? Like, one of them was like, steal footage from Cliffhanger, steal footage from Terminator 2, steal footage from this other movie, and then put them in here to make our own. I'm saying that, like, how did people like Jim Wynorski and Fred Olen Ray, I guess they got to make so much movies, I guess because they're cheap to be hired. They get films, I guess, under budget, and then they get films released. They're the traffic cops of directing. And it just seems like with so many films they would make, that they would improve and get better, and they didn't. So 8, Jim Wynorski, 7, Fred Olen Ray, 6, I know you're wondering, this guy didn't make the top 5? Close. Number 6, I put Uwe Boll. Uwe Boll. Ooey. Uwe Boll. Ooey. Ooey. Uwe Boll. Now, I did not mind the first Rampage. I did not mind the Assault on Wall Street. But he is a bad director. He is. Now, he's not in the top 5 because, again, there's 2 films of his I don't mind. Some of his bad films, they're bad, but they're funny bad. Like House of the Dead and Alone in the Dark are bad movies. But I can laugh at them and get some kind of enjoyment. Because you see that Uwe Boll is trying. It's just that he's trying in the wrong ways. But then you get, I Hate Postal, Far Cry, House of the Dead, and Alone Dark. They are bad movies. Blood Rain, and the sequels. What was it, Blubberella or something he did? Even more serious for like Tunnel Rats. He has a lot more misses than hits. So I gotta put him on the list, man. Again, stuff like Far Cry and stuff of that nature, he's really bad. So. Number 5, I put Sean C. Phillips. Cool duder himself. Because this guy, because I guess of his YouTube fame, money, whatever trust fund it is, not only is he able to buy every single movie that comes out, but he just to finance all these movies, Amityville in Space, Amityville Karens, Treasure Chest of Horrors, which is the one that comes to mind. And I'm like, these are so inept, incompetent. This is obviously a guy that's in way over his head. And even if you just base it on trailers and clips and other stuff you've seen, obviously he's never gone to film school. Just because you do videos on YouTube does not mean you know how to be a director. You don't. I love films. I love watching films. Do I think I would be a good director? No, because I would not know what I was doing. Because you actually have to have a little bit of know-how to know what the hell you're doing. Sean C. Phillips does not know what he is doing. Go watch Treasure Chest of Horrors and you'll see. Go watch any of the films he directed. Just watch the clips. You will see. And he's done multiple films now and doesn't look like he's improved at all. So he belongs on the list. Number 4, I put the team of Jason Freeberg and Aaron Seltzer. I would deem them the worst comedy directors of all time. That killed a whole subgenre. The spoof, the parody. They killed it. Epic movie, disaster movie, Meet the Spartans, that one on Fast and Furious called Superfast. Films like that, which then inspired other films like Superhero Movie and other stuff. What was it? The one on the Hunger Games. I forget what it was called. The Hunger Games. I forget what it was called. They killed it. They killed a whole subgenre with how awful the writing directing was. The directing was so just basic, lazy, reference that thing, show that superhero, show that person, pretend to be this actor, reference that thing that's been in the pop culture for 15 minutes, and the joke is we referenced it. The joke is that person is pretending to be that person, and now someone has stepped on him, or he's exploded for no reason. Or, oh my god, it's the Spartans, but they see like a giant phone. Or they do the Macarena, or whatever the hell else happened in that movie. The laziest, uninspired comedy ever. You're on the list. Number 3, I put the Polonia brothers. Now, granted, technically I should put them as number 2. Maybe I'm being a little bit generous because I believe, sadly, one of them has passed away. They're the ones who did Feeders, Feeders 2. They did another one that was god-awful called Razor Teeth. Really, like, all you have to do is just watch clips and watch footage and you'll see how bad they are. Shot on Shitio Ventures. I still remember Feeders or Feeders 2. There's literally a scene where a woman's supposed to be talking. She's got a piece of paper, like right here, right? Like on the desk, you see. Blah, 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 blah. It's the script. Like literally there's a wide enough shot where you see the script on the damn table that she's reading. You can't think to like move the camera up higher so you don't see the script? That's what I'm talking about with some of this stuff. What the hell? So stuff like that, and again, they did multiple films, and it didn't seem like they improved. So they're on the list. Number 2, I saw one of this guy's movies. I looked up footage of the other guy's movies. Giuseppe Andrews deserves to be number 2 on the list. The most just harebrained, moronic choices of trying to be, ooh, I'm an art guy, I'm so artsy, I'm so artsy, look at me, I'm so weird, I live in the the trailer, so I need to do it. Like, if a trash heap independent guy was pretentious and up his own ass to try to be so different. In Our Gardens, the film I saw, I reviewed it. That's the film where literally there are chapters where it's pages, and he does in that shutter slow-mo, and it's literally a piece of paper being held up with like chapter 1, and like slow-mo is like for each chapter of the film, and scenes are overlit. They look like a nuclear explosion. This woman's supposed to have an ear bit off, but it's a fake ear. But you tell the real ear is right behind it. A person is talking, but they're not an actor, so they'll talk for one sentence. Cut. You tell they're in a different position. Okay, if I'm going back on the list, let's say I'm doing this movie, and I'm going on the list. Number 10 is John Moore. Cut. It's also Olivia Megaton. Cut. Olivia Megaton did films like Transporter 3 and Taken 2 and 3. Cut. As well as Columbiana. Cut. Like, it cuts like every sentence or every 2 sentences. With some of the worst dialogue, and it's trying to be like, I don't know what the hell it was going for. Again, I know some people liked it because it's so odd and so weird that they laugh at it. To me, I'm like, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And I think people are laughing at him, not with him. It's like, this guy doesn't know how to direct, he doesn't know how to write, and people are laughing at him. Like, fine, you can laugh at him. People laughed at Ed Wood, but he was still a bad director, just like this guy was a bad writer and a bad director. In terms of the way he shoots scenes, the way they're lit, the way people talk, their exposure, the scene transitions. God awful. And number 1, with a bullet, Neil Breen. You wish you'd have a bullet in your head and up your ass instead of watching any of this guy's movies. Do I really need to explain Neil Breen? All you have to do is watch one of his films and it explains it all. Incomprehensible, confusing, special effects that just lazy as hell, that seem like no effort, a plot that goes everywhere and anywhere, dialogue that's inane and just like, what the hell are you saying? What are you talking about? He stars in the movies and he's the worst actor I've ever seen. I really would say he is the worst actor I've ever seen in a movie. No, you can't be dead. No, you could not have ended your own life. Oh no. Oh my God. And either this guy is the best troll ever, or he is so off the funny farm and off his meds that he makes these films, and he has such an echo chamber of, yes, Neil, you're doing so good. Or he doesn't listen to common sense or sanity. He just makes these films and they just are all awful. And some people, like, they'll talk, like, he takes the praise as if they legitimately like his movies when, no, they're only taught about for how bad. And some people get it, the so bad is good. No, it's just he is that badly incompetent at his job. Writing, directing, and acting. What about the guy who made The Room? At least from what I heard, he doesn't get it either, but he hasn't made as many films as Neil Breen. And despite him being a bad actor, he's an entertainingly bad actor, unlike this guy. He's just cheap, 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 cheap. And you kind of like make fun of it. Here, I guess you could do the same in New. It just this guy just gives himself more and more films and more chances, and it's like they get more incomprehensible and more confusing and more mind-numbingly atrocious. So yeah, number 10, tie between John Moore and Olivia Megaton. Number 9, David DeCoteau. 8, Jim Wynorski. 7, Fred Olen Ray. 6, Uwe Boll. 5, Sean C. Phillips. 4, Freeberg and Seltzer. 3, Polonia Brothers. 2, Giuseppe Andrews. And 1, Neil Breen. I know some people say Michael Bay. No, he's not one of the worst directors. Bad Boys 2, The Rock, even The Island, they're fun, they're entertaining. He knows how to make things blow up very well. He could be very, very stylish. And Pain and Gain and Bad Boys 2, he definitely overloads in the style, but it's for highly entertaining results. Transformers, I'm not a fan really of those movies, but I think some of the action scenes to be rather well staged. Is just the design choices. But I mean, worst directors, no. Not at all. People say Renny Harlin's one of the worst directors. I don't know. I disagree. I was going to say I don't know what crap they're smoking. And I'll say it, I don't know what crap they're smoking. Sorry to be mean, but if you think Renny Harlin is one of the worst directors of all time, I don't know what... Well, it's their opinion, man. Well, I get it. It's their opinion. I know. I get it. I just disagree. Because I looked at low-budget film like Prison, which was fairly well done for its low budget, with Viggo Mortensen. I looked at Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master, which I think for how little time they had to make the film in terms of the rush production, I think Renny Harlin directed the hell out of the movie in terms of setting up the scenes and getting style and energy, MTV style energy to it. MTV at the time when it was good. Love that film, my favorite in the franchise. And then Adventures of Ford Fairlane, very underrated comedy, action film that I think has more satiric points than people give it credit to. Die Hard 2 is a good damn sequel. Cliffhanger, to me, is a classic. Even later on, films like Mindhunters, I even like Skip Trace. I don't love all of his films. He did a found footage film. I forget where it was. They were in the snow. I wasn't really a big fan of that one. He did one with Sam Jackson. I love Deep Blue Sea. That's a great one. But he did one that was more like direct-to-video. I wasn't big on. I forget what it was. But Deep Blue Sea is another great one. It has some dated CGI, but the rest of it I think is very solid. So I think he has a lot of good stuff that he's done. Not a whole lot of great stuff lately, but that's a lot of directors. I'm trying to think of like what other... Again, there's films like, again, the director of Newty and Things, 1989. I just could totally put him on the list. Maybe I put him at number 2 for the... But I just... I already talked about that. What about Rian Johnson? The Last Jedi sucks. It's more for just the decisions made by all the higher up. Well, he wrote the script. I would say that's a terrible script. Knives Out is okay. And Brick I thought was actually pretty good. Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah, I mean, there's bad directors today, but again, these are like, they've had some of them, not all, but some of them have a lot of... It's just so inept and rookie mistakes and incompetent, and you're sitting there going, what the fuck, dude? Now, if we're talking like mainstream, like it has to be only mainstream, maybe the list would be different. Maybe it would include, I don't know, that'd be even tougher, maybe. Because a lot of those directors, they've only done one film because they were so bad at it and they never did a film. Like Samuel Bayer, who did the Elm Street remake. I think he only did one film, then never did a film again. So I don't know. But that's my list. Did the best I could. With that said, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye. I looked over there because I know I'm going to have like Neil Breen in the thumbnail. So that's for the thumbnail. We'll see you guys later.